A coal cap, if it comes in and appears, compensation would have to be paid by federal or state governments. Does this mean that whatever cap happens is just a tab picked up by the government, and then what's the point of doing it?
I hate to disappoint you, but as I've said in other outlets, we've got a cabinet process that we're going through. We're thinking through various options to respond to a problem that people want us to deal with, which is the expected increase in energy prices over the next year. And in working through that, there's no point in me, doing public speculation about different scenarios and how we might manage it. I've been very vocal on the need for us to get prices down from an industry perspective, and I do think that the gas companies could have done more sooner on that. We should not have to be in the spot where we're doing what we're doing right now, which is to contemplate a very strong range of actions to try and rein in prices on behalf of households and businesses, but that's where we're at. And so we just need to work a lot of that stuff through.
So without you revealing what you're going to do, you're always free to, but without doing that...
Thank you.
Without doing that, is it accurate what the states are already claiming, that compensation would have to happen to the companies because of existing contracts? So a price cap is going to be a government-funded subsidy, essentially?
Look, I think the states and territories are actively thinking about what the impact of escalating energy prices have on the people in their state and territory. So they're very focused. I've said before, having spoken with different state ministers, they get that we need to work together, and they also get that if we don't come up with a solution, we will have questions asked from households and businesses about why. So I do think we need to work through all that with them. I'm not going to engage and we've seen enough of that, frankly, with the previous federal government wanting to pick fights with states and territories. We want to be able to have a process that allows us to work together, and I'm confident that we will be able to work together to find a common solution.
The AER's going to set or has the information in to set its next default price today. So has your government made a decision yet on what you're going to do regarding electricity prices or coal and gas?
Well, the best, if I may say to you, the best way in responding to your question, have we made a decision? When we announce it, that's when we've made it. So
right. Has it been made?
At this point, that's what I'm saying to you. I'm not here to preempt anything, and I understand why you have to ask those questions.
Has there been a cabinet meeting today on this?
No, I don't believe that I'm in a position to be telling you about what cabinet meetings are occurring.
You said no at the start, but you're saying...
No, I said no, I don't believe.
Okay.
So anyhow, but hey, wordplay, it's fun.
No, I'm just clarifying what you said so I'm not misconstruing it.
No. Look, we as a group, we meet regularly, but as I said to you, I'd be very careful about necessarily going into what the Cabinet's thinking, why it's thinking the way it is. Be confident that we are considering this issue deeply.
You've had very strong views on gas in particular, the price it's at and the price Australians are paying. Given what the states are already talking about in terms of maybe compensation, is it time to look at tax treatment as well? Is that on the table? Isn't that a better fix than some short-term thing about caps?
I think if I can bring you back to what I'd said earlier, we looked at a range of different mechanisms and exploring what can be done, in what way, and how that has to be managed. I think there is a big issue about the way, and why I've spoken quite extensively in the past about reforming the code of conduct. It's not a code of conduct to improve customer behaviour, it's a code of conduct to improve the bargaining environment in which those gas contracts between the big producers and manufacturers are conducted. It's very similar, I might say. There are a lot of similarities between what happened with the news media bargaining code in this sector, where you have some very big players that call the shots and the way in which the market operates, and that does need to be dealt with. It's why we've called the ACCC in to investigate and give us options on what can be done. If we improve that bargaining environment, I think that's a really solid way, longer term, to get a bit of better behaviour happening, and by better behaviour, obviously, much more realistic pricing.
Would it help if Victoria and New South Wales got some gas production going, some more gas production? Are they pulling their weight?
So I hear this comment, Tom, quite a bit about increasing supply. What we're focused on, if I can emphasise, is this is uncontracted supply. I saw an article in the Fin today going off about what some people who are unnamed will think in the South Australian government about what's going on, and no doubt some of it's driven by a view on supply. There's a lot of uncontracted supply at the moment. We're not talking about dealing with anyone's contracted export supply. There is work.
You think there's
on
enough,
Narrabri.
essentially?
Well, no. I mean, look, Narrabri, I've said, I think it's up to Santos and the New South Wales government to get their act together on that. That's over, from what I understand. I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. 1,600 petajoules of supply. We need to get moving on that. And I understand, thankfully, there's been some movement recently in terms of exchange of information between Santos and the New South Wales government. So if that opens up, because it's been tested economically, environmentally, then that's a great source of new supply. You've got obviously what's happening in Beetaloo. It's there. But I'll just end on this point on supply. Supply isn't everything, right? We've got a lot of supply. The issue is the price at which that supply is made available.
Okay. Let's talk the National Reconstruction Fund as well. It will need to make, depending on the type of arrangement, there are a few different ones, but you spoke about a positive return. Is there going to be a sort of percentage above the cash rate that projects will need to make? Is that the...
Well, if I may say, we introduced legislation and delivered on an election commitment to do this, to set up a National Reconstruction Fund, $15 billion worth. This will be the greatest peacetime investment in industrial and manufacturing capability and living memory, dedicated solely to lifting what we need in some priority areas. It is not grants, it's going to be loans, equity guarantees, and we will expect a rate of return for the taxpayer. We will work through the rate itself. That'll be contained in an investment mandate that will work.
And the reason I ask is, with interest rates, the cash rate going up, does it get trickier if you set it as a percent above the cash rate, which often has been used in the past for governments?
I'm very mindful we need to get the balance right on the rate of return that's expected.
Okay.
But
not settled on that yet.
We do think it's a big thing that will supercharge the development of industry capability, and importantly, for the people who've got great ideas to grow new firms, that they don't have to go offshore is the only way to get support to build jobs here.
Industry and Science Minister Ed Husic, thanks for your time.